Teams chat. Does it help or does it complicate matters because now you have yet another place to look for communications? Your life is already complicated enough. Why would you take on yet another communication method? After all, you already have email, phone calls, texting, and perhaps even a messaging function in one or more of your third-party apps. Well, if you are thinking Teams chat is not worth the trouble, you couldn't be more wrong. Today, I'm going to convince you otherwise. I'm glad you're with me this winter day. I'm Annie Rind, the hostess with the mostest when it comes to making organizations more streamlined and effective, and this is a bonus episode this week on the 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Teams podcast. So, back to the question at hand. Why are you underwhelmed with Teams chat, and why might you think it is just more clutter in an already cluttered computer work world? Let me put it simply. Teams should be your only internal communication tool. Yes, I know, that's a bold statement. But Microsoft designed Teams to be the workhorse of modern organizations, and if it's not, it simply means you have an implementation problem. There's nothing wrong with the tool or the concept. The failure is always one of poor implementation. Email? It should only be used for external communication, and even that should move more toward Teams over time. The only reason it hasn't yet is that those other organizations, and yes, that means even your competitors, is because they also haven't changed their culture to embrace this modern collaboration phenomenon. Texting? Get rid of it. Teach your employees to use Teams chat effectively, and they'll not want to use texting for business. I mean, who really wants work texts mixed in with personal texts anyway? Those should be separate. It's good for the person and good for the organization. Teams chat on mobile is just as handy as texting, but employees also get the added benefit of all those text messages being keyword searchable on all devices, which you can't say for phone texting. Well, that sounds great and all, but you're probably saying, I hear what you're saying, Annie, but the reality of the situation is that it's just not working for us. If you've hung around this podcast very long, you know our long-standing 3 steps to successful implementation are: first, to customize the team site to exactly match the workgroup's needs; second, to give the employees just enough training to be able to use the basic Teams functions; and then third, and perhaps most importantly, require the employees of the workgroup to use nothing but Teams for the workgroup's internal communication. I'll explain that third step more in just a moment, but you may have heard in a recent episode here that we've added a 4th step to that method. That 4th step is that the leader or leaders must model the expected behavior. We finally realized modeling isn't instinctive to many leaders, and too many leaders were failing to practice what they preached. So, it's now our 4th step. Now, back to the expectations. We also always say that happy adoption is better than forced adoption. What we mean by that is that you should first make the Teams site so outrageously helpful to employees that you don't have to force them to use it. Employees should think to themselves, this is so stinking useful that I can't wait to use it. When it comes to chat, however, you must absolutely require its usage in place of email because email is an old habit that is hard to stop. If an employee sends an email or business text, simply reply to them these words: "Thanks for this email or text," but it should have been sent as a Teams chat or a Teams channel post. Why are there 2 ways to chat in Teams? Well, you'll have to tune in Monday for our next episode because the 2 methods, chat and channel posts, have completely different uses, and once you hear when to use which, you'll become an instant fan of channel posts. If you're still unconvinced that you should mandate Teams chat usage over email and texting, consider this. Communications in chat are keyword searchable in the powerful Teams search engine, a search engine that searches everything at once. Everything, that is, except email and text messages. It searches files, people, chat messages, channels, and more, all from one place. Trust me, after several months of using Teams, you and your employees will fall in love with Teams search. Secondly, if you don't mandate communications via Teams, you'll have some employees using Teams, some using email, some using chat, and some using all 3. That's just flat out confusing and chaotic. Since Teams is the work tool of the future, why not simplify everyone's lives and make the executive decision to go all in on Teams? Pick a date a few weeks out. Tell your employees that after that date, email and texting are no longer acceptable for internal communication, and then task them with practicing as much as it takes to become comfortable with the tools. Tell them that they need to ask however many questions they need to ask before that date. But on that date, no more email or texting. So there you have it, folks. That's how you capture the benefits promised by Microsoft in all their slick advertising campaigns. They're not feeding you a line. They really are onto something. Teams is the future of work. Well, until Monday when we drop the episode telling you the difference between chat and channel posts and when to use each, this is Annie saying so long.